This is a Realme C25Y, and holding it you'll immediately notice two things. One, how slightly heavy it feels in your hand, and the camera setup at the back, with the main one being a 50 megapixel main camera, but we'll get back to that in a sec. Let me just show you the front display, which is a huge 6.5 inch LCD display, and it can go up to 420 nits of brightness, so you can get really bright on this display, which is actually good for outdoors. I took it out for a while and you can actually use it comfortably in the sun. Right, so let's talk about those cameras. So there are three at the back, with the main one being a 50 megapixel camera on top. It's a 50 megapixel camera sensor at the top, and it does take really nice photos, but I don't like how they hide this 50 megapixel deep in the settings. Like, you do have to go to more to find it. You do have to scroll all the way to more to find it, but when you do, the images are actually good at this point. They also have an option whereby they do give you a 12 megapixel photo using the same 50 megapixel camera, but honestly I just think they're just cropping into the middle pixels at this point for the shot, because it's actually not as great. And also I didn't like that it only has up to 4x of digital zoom. There is no optical zoom, but digital zoom will go up to 4x, and it will be blurry at this point, so yeah, that's not great. But after that you have your macro and the depth sensor. So macro is just 2 megapixel for the macro. It's nothing fancy at this point, it's just a normal standard macro, not great shots at all. That is it. That's for the cameras. For the front, there is a selfie camera in the notch up top. It's a 8 megapixel lens, and it will give you some decent photos. Nothing special, but there will be some really decent photos on this one. Yeah, so it's good for selfies. And the flash, the fourth one, there is a flashlight. It's just a normal flashlight. It's not a quad flashlight or anything, so it doesn't get really bright where you see it on most other smartphones. Also, something to note, Google Lens is actually built into the software, so yeah, it's easier to access now. It makes it better. Side note, if you are enjoying this video, please subscribe. Right, so where were we? Right, the battery. The battery is a huge 5000 milliamperes battery, so you can get a very nice amount of time on this one. Almost carefree usage for a 5000 milliamperes battery. That's a massive battery. But if you do max it out, you can fast charge it with an 18-watt brick that also comes in the box. That will max up your battery very fast. Yeah, so the battery is another feature of this phone. That's a nice one. Now let's look at the inside. So the inside is actually Realme's UI coupled with Android 11. So this gives you a very fast, smooth experience. You enjoy using the inside because it's very fast, responsive. It's quite a nice experience on the inside. But the model I'm holding is 128 gigs of RAM and 4 GB. 128 gigs of storage and 4 GB of RAM. There are two more, that is 64 by 4 and 128 by 6 gigs. This is a 128 by 4 gigs of RAM. The other models will also be fairly cheap or expensive depending on which one you go for. This one goes for about 18k Kenyan shillings. You can convert that to whichever currency you're from, but the price will vary from around 18 to 19k, around that price. But overall, this is actually a really nice phone to use. Right, so that was it, guys. Make sure to subscribe, and thank you for watching.